Now we need to adjust the materials in the scene. So we'll start with the floor then. I think we'll use the quick bridge. There is a section here where we create geometry, light, all sorts of effects. Here we have a bridge section. The bridge has recently been sewn in, that is, it was sewn into the handrail. This is such an innovation from the 5th version. And here we can download materials for free. The only thing that can download is those who are registered in Epigames. In other words, we have to log in here via Epigames. If you are registered through another something, then it is unlikely that you will have all the cells for free. So, here we are looking for all the faces. All the face we are looking for means floor covering. I'm going to use marble flooring. So, I have it already downloaded in principle. Now I will show this what kind of material it is. Just a second. So, I have this material here, the tile material. It seemed to me the most suitable. It is downloaded from Quick Bridge. We just transfer it like this to the object in this way. And this is how it looks like here. Here you can configure it. I click on the material twice. Talling. Talling suits me, although you can even change it a little. I'll put 0.8 on 10 and Y. Yes, I think that's better. What else can we configure here? Albedo. Open the color and change the value here. I put it a little brighter. 1 and 5 is probably the maximum, it's not worth putting more. There are still albedo controls here. You can also change the saturation in it. Let's say the more value we have, the more saturated we have. I left brightness at 0, I will also increase the brightness a little. The contrast as we see changes the contrast. I put it on 0, or rather 1. So what else can be changed here? Glossiness. Max timidity is our gloss nest. Something like in 3D Max as we have gloss nest, only here it is equal. 1 is matte, 0 is glossy. Somewhere 0.7. I think it looks normal. 0.7, 0, 75, so everything with the floor is basically clear. There is nothing complicated here. Now I have it saved. Do not forget to save, because Unreal can fly out. This is a normal topic Hirela, and concrete we will also download. I have it already downloaded, I downloaded it. So, here is the name of the materials indicated here. You can just keep the name of the material in Quicks in the search. And easily find it. Or in principle, it's easy to search here. Click on all the faces, and here we look at the sections that we need. So, here I have this material. I'm assigning it to the ceiling now. This is such concrete. I'll show you its settings. It means that we have it set up here. We have styling here. There is one talling by default, but it seems to me that it looks a little big. Let's put, for example, 2 as it was, as I put it now, or 3. But I think 2 will be fine. Even 2 and 5 can be tried. Yes, that's it. Then here we have albedo tint. This is also an increase in brightness. It's actually dark. Like this. We increase the albedo of the tint, and it becomes brighter. And also there is in here in this section, in the next albedo controls, we have erase brightness. We customize it for ourselves. Bright we have brightness. That's how we'll adjust the brightness, but we don't overdo it. It makes the texture much brighter. I'll bet 1 and 2. Contrast can be added and contrast can be viewed to taste, but now, it seems to me, it's not worth it. I'll leave 1. Yes, then we'll see, if necessary, we'll add it. So well, in principle, I don't need any other parameters in this material. Close it and click like this. Now I will save again, so that there are no failures with departures. So, now let's deal with the walls. Now we will deal with the box as a whole, and then we will deal with the mirror and the tumka. So, what do we have with this material? I have also prepared this material here. I will explain how it works, how it is made here. So, this is such a decorative plaster. We are trying to repeat the decorative plaster. I made this plaster myself, although there are ready-made textures, but I didn't look for it anymore. It is usually made. I'll show you how. So, we have such material. We don't change any settings for him. In base color, we connect the lerp node. The lerp node is created by the student and press L on the keyboard and the left mouse button. We are creating a node like this. Here we connect a color to it, to colors like this. To create them, we also press 3 on the keyboard and press the left mouse button. We create a color like this, where we can set what color we need. And in order to make it a parameter, as I have now, a parameter is a changeable parameter that we can change online. For example, like now. That's to see the result. To do the same, convert the parameters. Right-click, there is an envelope to envelope parameter, and call cancel Mercola 1. If you didn't rename it right away, you can click rename like this with the left button. We connect it to the clerp, and then alpha it with us. I'll explain it to Claire in general. Claire is such a note as a mix in 3D Max, where we mix 2 channels, and according to some mix to the texture. There's something like that here, only it's called lerp. We are mixing 2 textures on the map. The alpha card is my usual dirt card. I'm going to show it now. Here it is, the usual dirt card. I have roughly picked up an interesting map, and 2 colors are mixed according to it. Now it is very important, there is such a construction here. This whole structure here is our controllers over the tolling. For example, tolling base, this note changes the tolling in general. Here, for example, I'll put 1 now, she changes the tolling for 10 and Y. Bayou and Vi tolling change again along some axis. Bayou, for example, changes by X, for example, and Vi changes by Y. Here. That's how it works. Here we have offset, again X, again Y. So the ration is a twist. If we need, for example, to turn. Here we change by 0.25, 25 hundredths. You can just take a picture for yourself of what these notes look like, how to build them so that you have these notes that you can control with styling. I will not focus on this for a long time, let's move on. Spec Ent is a type of reflex for us, as in 3D Max, when we create materials, reflex is Spec Ent. I'm creating a parameter. You can create a parameter on C. Hold down C on the keyboard, press the left mouse button. We create a parameter, and we call it as we like, and connect it to the channel, for example, specular. Or you can make it easier. Right-click on the specular and click on the promo and parameter. That is, to fall into the parameter. It will create a node like this, and we have control over the reflection. Here 1 is our maximum reflection, 0 is our no reflection. By default, the RL is 0.5. If we need more, that is, we leave it, put such a node and set 1. Unity is the maximum. Well, it seems like you can even go beyond. We're trying. No, you can't go outside. And now the next card is our deadline. Here we have Glossnest, the Glossnest channel. Here we adjust the roughness. I'm going to turn off BAM now. Here I'll show you how it works. So, 1 second. So, here we have a multiplayer. A multiplay is a multiplier, that is, it multiplies A and B channels by each other. The first channel is a texture, and the second channel is a numeric parameter. In other words, it multiplies the texture, as if it makes it more powerful, as if its action makes it more. A multiplay is created, if I didn't say it, then press the M key and click with the left mouse button. We are creating a multiplay, so we connect the parameter to it. I have already told you how to create it. And texture. The texture I have here is like this. I took it from the internet, that is, I found the material of the decorative plaster material, and applied its texture and mixed it with the parameter. Here we multiply its power, I'll put 1, 2 from it now, and now we see already somewhere rough, somewhere less rough. I set a small value, you can put it like this even. Next, let's analyze the normal. And, by the way, this whole sequence of notes, which is responsible for tiling management, is connected to the UVIS channel. Every texture that falls into this material editor has this channel. Here you are connecting to the southeast. IVS is our management of scans, that is, tiling. Now we have a normal map. This is a blue map with a map of heights. We connect it to the flat normal node. Flat normal, just right-click on an empty space, enter FLA and normal, and find this node. Here it is. We also connect a parameter to it that changes this kind of bump force. 0, we have extrusion going on, and more precisely, we have extrusion working both in the opposite direction and in the one that is needed. For example, we look at how it is squeezed out. In principle, it seems to be fine. We watch 2 is probably even better. I'll set something like this value and save it. That's how the wall material works. In principle, it is not very complicated. You can see how the design is made here and study it. It's better if you try, then you will better understand how it all works. So, we get this material on the walls. We dealt with the box as a whole, now we will try to make a very simple material. This is our glass material, or rather the material of the mirror. The glass material is also now going to show you how to make it. So I have the mirror material, it has already been made. Also, in principle, I will show you how to make it. I assign it like this, I just transfer it. Now I have a reflection. By the way, ray tracing works here, so they are of such high quality. So, here we don't touch anything in the material. That is, we do not configure the material itself here in the TATS. We are connecting the base color to the channel. The color we connect is white. If we connect the black one, then nothing will be reflected. It's the same as we have 3D Maxi. When we create a mirror, at least it used to be so. We set the color black, and then the reflection works for us. Here it is necessary to put a white color. We set the white color, either or you can even click on C with a numeric value. That is, we create a numeric value. And you can set it here, but to set one is the white color will be considered. Here we see how it works. Now I'm going to connect the color back. Then metallic. Such nodes are created easily. You can just right-click on the promoter parameter. So that's it. We create metallic, because here the effect of metal seems to go. For Unreal, this is how it looks. If we click on 0, then we will not get any mirror. 0 is no metallicity will not be. We put 1. Then specula. This is our reflection. We will definitely put a reflection. In principle, you cannot put it, I look, but I will not leave it. Next. Roughness is our roughness, 0 is our completely glossy mirror, 1 is our completely matte. So I'm changing the meaning here. It turns out that this is matte. It's more like metal here now. So we put 0. Great. We have sorted out the material of the mirror. Now let's quickly run through the glass material. So, to find the glass material, I click on the folder with a magnifying glass. Here I have this material. It's also very simple here. Glass. We create glass in the same way as a mirror. It turns out that we put the white color in base color here. We also put metallic so that we have a good reflection, and we put metallic. Now I'm going to try to put 0. Yes, that's what affects the reflection. In other words, we get a better reflection if we have metallic. Then we put the reflection unit in the specular. We also set rounds to 0 so that our reflections are glossy. In danger. In danger, we are already connecting the lerp. I told how it is created. Click on L on the keyboard and left mouse button. There are 2 channels here. It's like a mixed node in 3D Max. We mix 2 parameters here, that is, how transparent the glass will be near and far away. If we stand at an angle, for example like this, you can configure it here. Here, for example, it is close. I put 1, that is, it is less transparent here. For example like this. And make the distance, for example, less transparent. That is, we see it already darkened in the distance, or more transparent. So in this way we can configure how transparent it will be, depending on how we look. How we look will determine the Fresnel from which angle we look. We connect the Fresnel node, that is, in order to connect, right-click, search for the Fresnel in the search, find the Fresnel. This is the node. We connect the Fresnel parameter to it. Here I put the value, by the way, 5. For me, this value looks much better in my opinion. And I connect it to alpha. That's it. In this way, we have a channel of danger at the glass. So we connect refraction. This is our refraction of light. We see it changing. We set the default unit. By default, we set 1 so that we have good transparency, that is, the correct refraction of light. Here we have all disassembled the glass material. I think that everything is clear with this material. So, now let's set up the material. So let's try to set up this cabinet here. Here this material is created like this material. I'll show it to you now. So I have it already created here. You can assign it like this in principle. There are slightly different textures applied here, but in principle, it looks like these walls, like plaster. So, by the way, it was made from this wall here. In other words, we created an ox. This is our material with nodes. We create a right-click glues material instance. We still have an instance in such an already material, in which we can already change colors and textures. In other words, the same material is used, but with different textures and other parameters. Here I just changed the colors that we see now. That is, it is unevenly not one color. The mixing texture in the diffuse seems to have been changed. Here we see the section diffuse, texture, and colors. So, what else do we have here? Talling. I didn't touch the talling. And although there is no talling is standing alone here, I changed it a little. The gloss texture has also been replaced and is glossed here in principle. We can watch one. I'll put 0.5. So with this I think it's understandable. Here you can put any colors you want to us. Well, in principle, this is the normal color I think. So, try assigning yes, the same stuff. Let's see how it will look. So here we have a problem with the scan. Best of all, it would be best to apply a slightly different material here. We'll do it later then. I'm going to reset it now. So, I'll show you how to make a regular fabric material now. So, let's create a material with the right button material. So, let's throw it on this POF right now. So, and we will need textures now. I already have the texture prepared. I add it to the diffuse, save it, and see how it looks now on the model. So, the texture seems to be lying normally. So, let's set up a speller. Let's make parameters for setting up reflections. This is a reflection we can say. I put one safe, I won't touch the roughness. So, in principle, everything is with this material. That is, if we wanted, for example, to make some other additional parameters, for example, to change the brightness. Then we would click on plus, or rather M. Then with the left mouse button, we create a texture for heat, and connect the first channel to it. In the second channel, we will connect, press C on the keyboard, and create a parameter with the left mouse button. We connect this parameter to the second channel, and connect it to scalar. So, now I have it black, because it costs 0 here, let's put 1. If we increase it, we will change the brightness. The same can be done with color. If you put a color here instead of a numeric value, that is, we can then mix it with the color, so I'll write a diff. Diffuse rock. There's one here. Save. For now, let him be alone. Let's try to configure the following material further. Here is the material more precisely. I will translate this texture into a changeable parameter, so that it can be changed without going into this material. I choose the envelope. the parameter here I specify the hyphen of the stool. All I have now is this parameter, that is, it has become changeable. Here I will specify the group. I'll write a hyphen group, so that I have sorted all these parameters into groups. Specular, we will put a reflection group. Great. Save. Hide it. So, where do I have this stuff? I will create an instance from it. Glues the material instance and write here. I don't know what it is. It's probably a blanket. So, I'll do the material here. And since this is an instance material, we created an instance. Here we can change the very texture that we did as a parameter. I will change it now to the appropriate one. You can transfer it like this just to see how it looks like it's not bad. I put it a little brighter than her. I think it's possible to add another color change. Before that, I go to Pyron, that is, the parent material. And before I increase the brightness, I will make a color change. I press M, so I press M on the keyboard. I press M on the keyboard, and insert a texture into the first channel. I connect the multiplay, and in channel B, as I said, we create a color. I press 3 on the keyboard, and use the left button to create a color. So let's make some color. Colors will also make the envelope's parameter the color parameter. Color happy. Great. Save. So, this is the design I have now turned out. For some reason, my color has turned black here. We need to understand why. So understandable. I'll try to connect the brightness change first now. So, and only then connect the color change. Ah, it's all clear. So this is the meaning that should be bright. I'll leave one here. This is our master material. We shouldn't spoil it. So that's the design. Now we have a texture going through multiplication. Multiplying the parameter, that is, increasing the brightness, lowering the brightness. Then we have multiplication by color. This is where we can change the color. And we put a reflection in the specular. What kind of reflection we will have, how strong it will be. I'm saving it. So, close, great. So, I didn't make one point. The color needs to be added to the diffuse group. So this parameter should also be in the default. So, everything is fine. Save. Now in the diffuse section, we have a parameter for changing the color. We adjust some color. I don't know if it's appropriate to change the color here, probably not. Yeah. So this stuff makes him an instance again, and I assign him to the poof. I will change the color, that is, the brightness of the poof through the instance. I'll put it a little brighter. I think it's better this way. Now I'm going to try to change the saturation. No, I probably won't change the color, I'll leave the color as it is. So now let's set up these towels here. This is also our fabric. I also do from the POF, the material is instanced. Here I call them as M and. The instance material can be called as M, and since it is better to call a towel in them. I'll throw the material on them like this. So there are several slots in the materials here. I add color to all slots. Great. And it's the same here. I add colors to 2 channels. Now here we have a different texture. I go to this instance, which we have now created and applied to the object. I'm changing the texture here. I include a hyphen scalar and need to change the texture from. So I need to find now where I have this texture. Factories. Yeah. So I just didn't add it. Here it is. I'll try to apply it here. And here I think we need to change the brightness and a little reflection. I'll do less. Rock will put 07, 06, 06. I even think it will be fine. There will be no near angles, but in principle it looks good anyway. It would be possible to add another bump if we had close-up angles, but that's not bad. I'll look now like these. So these are good too. I'll make the top one dark. I'll make the top one dark. I find these towels, press the folder with a magnifying glass, remove the top towel, and assign the same material. And stop. Not this one is wrong. We need to create an instance from this towel, which we have already made as well. Glue the material instance and create a towel too, and now we assign it, because it will have other parameters. Here I am opening it already. What do we need to change here? Here we need to make it darker, but not that much. Somewhere around 0.2503. The hyphen remains the same for us. I'll make it a little less bright. Okay, that's not bad. Great. File, save, save it. So, how can we make this crane here? Let's try to make a material for it. It has a metal material, similar to the material of a mirror. Let's try to make a similar material. Now I'm going to create a new one to show how it's done. I press the right button on the material. Let's call the material as metal. So we will create. So let's create a color. Now it's 3 on the keyboard. I add to the base color. I'll leave the white one here. So have I already appointed or not? I didn't appoint it that way. Right now, I just transferred it like this, appointed it. Let's save the safe, and now we will apply it so this action will be applied. White color made. We put metallic necessarily, because we have metal here. I put the metal on one. Click the safe. Let's see what we get. It turns out we have this. Now we set the rock's promoter parameter. We set the parameter, and already here we set up glossy. Now it costs 0, it will be absolutely glossy. Let's see how it will work. Yes, but we don't need too glossy, we need less glossy. I'll probably put 0.3 like this. Yes, 0.3. So the crane, in principle, occupies a small area, not much detail is visible. You can try to do this again, if the scan allows. I just don't know what kind of scan I have here. In general, the scan on the first channel should be done well. This must be monitored, otherwise there will be problems when configuring materials later. You will not be able to properly position the material, or rather the texture. I'm going to go into textures now. Here I have a dirt card. Let's say I choose this one. So how do we apply it? Let's say I want to make it glossy somewhere not. I take the texture, connect it to the heat meter, and click Create Heat, and connect it to the rawness. And now this parameter ROX, which controlled the roughness, is connected to this multiplay. And already here on the preview, you can see the result on the ball. That is, how our material looks like. It's already so uneven, interesting. Let's save it. Let's see now how it will look on the screen. If the scan is good here, then everything will be fine. If not, then you will have to suffer. Then the usual material will be metal. So yes, there is an incorrect scan here. That is, in a good way, you need to go to 3D Max, assign a Juvie W map in the form of boxing, and re-import to Unreal. You can import it like this. We go to Geometry Decor. Let's say we remove the faucet, right-click, and remove the re-import here. In other words, we changed the FBX object and imported it. Now it means I won't use the material, then I'll just do a rawness like this, as I did before. Yeah, great. So, what do we have now? Let's make the same material now, metal here. So we still have materials assigned inside here. Here we have a special material that should be light transmitting, the so-called sap surface in the glass, that is, under the surface glow. I will put a lamp there first, that is, we will introduce a light source. I create it in light, point light. I'm transferring it here. So let's see how it is positioned here on the top view somewhere in the center. And I'll lower it down a little. Now let's adjust the brightness. I put it less bright, it's already better. They will make the glow temperature 3000, let it be warm. Next, I want to reduce the brightness a little more and make it less so sharp. To do this, we will make the source redirect increase 1, 2, 5, 7. Well, about 7 will be fine, I think. Yes. If we change something there. I'll leave the mobile now. So now we're all going to customize the fabric material. I have already made it for this. Now I will show you how to make it, how it is made more accurately. So here it is, this material. A sign. And that's how the light transmitting material will work for us. This is our fabric. You can slightly reduce the talling. Now I'm going to reduce it and show you how it's all done. Opening the material. So we'll delete it here. That's the kind of material we have. In the material settings, select this first node. What do we have here? Phase, opaque, and sap surface. Sap surface mode. In base color, I connected the texture. This is our usual fabric texture and took it from some kind of furniture object. In principle, it does not matter. Creating a texture. We throw a texture here. Through a talling here. Talling management. By the way, let's make 4 here now, for example, talling. That's better already, you can even leave 3 like this. Next, we connect the danger so that we have an interesting effect like this. If we put it in opacity, if we remove it more precisely, then we will have this effect. Not very pretty. God forbid we can make a more plausible fabric so that it no longer looks like this, that is, it's not clear what. We set the value 0405 somewhere and create such a translucent effect of the fabric. Great. Next. Here I have this fabric connected not directly, but connected through a parameter, that is, through a multiplay, in which the parameter is. For what? In order to control the sap surface, that is, we connect not just a texture to the surface, but also a parameter. Let's say now I put 0, and it turns out that it doesn't show through. 1, 2, that is, we remove how much light we will see through the texture in the fabric. That's it. This is how our material looks like. The material is basically simple, it looks complicated. Here only one texture is used. Save no. You can probably lower the brightness a little. Here it is already necessary to look to taste, as it seems to you it will be better. Probably that's how it will be fine. So we still have a curtain here. In principle, the curtain is created here by analogy. You can make it like we made a POF. That is, I'm going to find the material now. Where do I have it? So here it is. Let's create an instance now. The instance heats the material. Here I will write the name of the curtain and assign it to the curtain. Let's open this material instance and see how it can be done. Here I have a texture section. Now I'm going to insert a texture that I have already prepared. Now here it is. Here. This is how the curtain material looks like. In principle, you can even make it highlighted. Well, I didn't do it anymore. The principle I have already shown how it is done. Then here we have to put the material on both sides, if we have it visible from both sides. It is easy to put it, you can even do it in instant. We go here to this scroll of the material property, and there is such a tick of the party. Turn it on and turn on that side. Let's wait a little and now we have a curtain on both sides. I'm going to clean it up now, because it eats up resources very much. Therefore, we try to use fewer of these options with double-sided material. I will be saved. So we have a window here. The window. By the way, here's the material. The concrete material will be transferred now to the main ceiling, too. In principle, it is not visible. You cannot bother, just make sure that there is a material at all. So, let's make a frame now. The frame is ordinary metal. We can even take the metal that we have, this one. Make the info material. I will write, for example, M and metal. And I'll assign it to the window. Usually we have a metal window material, dark metal. Now we will try to do something similar. I don't remember if I did a good sweep on the frame. If he did, most likely he didn't, but if he did, then it would be possible to make an unevenness there. Some roughness, some scratches. Therefore, it is better to pay attention to the scan on the first channel, which is necessarily textural, so that we have the opportunity to make high-quality material. If let's say we do a close-up and we have a near angle, then we definitely need to pay attention to the scans. Do not neglect. So, what are the parameters we have here? We have metallic. We turn off metallic, we lose all metallicity. We put 1, we leave it. So roughness. I think we need to add more parameters here. In the master material. I'm switching to the parent now, opening the master material. I think it is possible to change the color, that is, to make the color changeable, turn it into a parameter. To do this, I right-click on it. Here I need to select the envelope parameter. I will now call the diffuse color scalar and add. In principle, you cannot add to the sections, just click on the save. So, let's close the master material. And what have we added now? We now have a color parameter in Winston's material. We set the color. I'll put for example 07, 05, 02, 02. Fine, let it be 02. By the way, the less brightness we set here, the worse our reflection is, that is, less bright. Therefore, we do not overdo it. Next, I put the roans not too glossy, so that they are. .05 is a lot, 04 will put 03. Yes, that's how it will be good. It would be even better if we had normal scans, that is, so that we could make a dirt map. Now, in principle, I will even try to do it anyway. I'll move the dirt here, creating my heat on M on the keyboard. I'm moving it here. In principle, this is done simply from 3 notes. Save. By the way, saving depends on the speed of saving, depends on your processor how powerful it is. If your processor is weak, it will be slow to persist. All powerful, then faster. As we can see, I don't have any scans. That is, the texture doesn't work for me. If it worked, it would be great. In other words, it would be possible to work out the material, but you already do not make such mistakes. So, what else do we have? We have water. This is an interesting piece of material. How to create it? It is very easy to create it. That is, it is possible. You just need to go to the settings. Select plugins here. There is such an interesting cool plugin here. We write a bot, put a tick next to it here. You will get a warning, agree with this warning. Then you will have an offer from Unreal to reboot Unreal. This will need to be done. It will take a bit long to load Unreal, because the shaders will all be loaded. After that, you will be able to create water. I take it like this, press plus, here I select all the elements and enter them in the search for a lot. Here I create a custom one. I'm moving it here. I'm creating a play like this. You will have it created at the beginning of the det. Here, a pripy will appear in the lower right corner. That is, something will be prepared, a pripy will be written. We are waiting, and after some time, when the prip is over, the material will appear. When we have waited, we choose the material, or rather the object of water, and here we take the material from it. Here's the material. Click on the folder with a magnifying glass. That is, we have a ready-made water material that we can use for free. Where do I have it? So here is this water material. I remove the plane and assign water here to the material section. It turns out like this. Here I have already set up one material of water. I'll show you now. That's how I set it up. Here it is. There are several materials here, by the way, you have noticed everything. 1, 2, and here's another. These materials can be tried different. I chose one of them. A little tweaked. The first parameter is that we have what we get here is space. Now. And this is what we get speed sleeps. Here he sleeps. We show how strong the current will be. 1 is not going to move at all, or rather 0 is not going to move at all. 1 will be fast, 2 even faster, 3. Here I put for example 0.5, even 0.3. There is not much need for it to be mobile somehow. The second is normal for us. Normal stress. How strong the waves will be. We also customize it for ourselves as we need. 0.1, 0.2, 0.5, 0.3. Probably that's not bad. Then here's a scale. This is our scale. Here's a goal we're picking it up to. I'll bet you 50, let it be 50. What other parameters are interesting here? Yes, basically everything. These are the main such parameters. That's speller. This is our reflection. The interesting thing is that I set the parameters to 0.7. That is, I put 0, there are no reflections at all. 0.1, 0.2 and up to 1, we expose some kind of reflection. Let's see how we like it more. Here, but this is how, in principle, materials are created simply. So, I set the scale to small. I think it's better to put a scale of 70, 75. So we have a normal speed of 0.35. Yes, that's how I think normally. The water is not super, of course, realistic, but it's such a free option. I think it's not bad. Further, in principle, we have mainly analyzed the materials in this scene, how they are created. The interior is basically simple, and there are not so many materials here. The main thing is that I explained the principle of how materials are created. And basically the most interesting materials are self-luminous, or rather light-transmitting material. The same material is used in plants when we want to do this highlighting of the petals. So well, in principle, I think that you will not have any questions, or if any questions arise, you can write in the comments.